Back to the Game Fest podcast. As always, I'm your host from Liberty, and with me is
Fuaz Mohammed Yusuf.
And today we got lots of stuff. Oh boy, we got Xcom 2 coming to consoles. We got standalone Gwent game. We got Persona 5 North American release date. We got Final Fantasy 12 The Zodiac Age. So basically Final Fantasy 12 remaster. We got Ukulele delayed and trailer to 2017. We got new IP from Saints Row developers, Agents of Mayhem. We got Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy's Journey trailer. We got Injustice 2 announced for 2017. And we got Watch Dogs 2 trailer. And whew, a lot of pre-E3 stuff.
A lot of pre-E3 stuff. It's an exciting time to be a gamer.
It's an exciting time. Yeah, this is the time to get when all the news comes out. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. So I finally finished Final Fantasy X.
Okay. Can I narrate the story?
You want to narrate the story? Okay.
Okay. So me and Tyler in the chat. While we're chatting, he's fighting against Braska's final Aeon.
Yeah.
So he's getting his ass kicked, and he gets Yojimbo. Because Yojimbo has this one move that he randomly does every now and then that can one-shot any enemy in the game. Mm-hmm. So, he summons Yojimbo, he pays Yojimbo some money, he pays Yojimbo a bunch of money, and then Yojimbo doesn't do the move. Mm-hmm. Then, the boss bodies Yojimbo. And then, so Tanner is like, oh my god, he used Jet Bomber. Oh my god, Yojimbo survived. Okay, Yojimbo, here's all my money. And then he's like, yes, because he does the move and he one-shots Braska's final Aeon, and then Tanner beat the game, and it was so hilarious. It was like watching an anime. It was like listening to an anime. Honestly, how it played out, it was so perfect.
I was so happy because I just didn't think I would be able to pull that off, and it saved me so much time. I will have to add a part 2 to that story that made me go, oh god, no. So after that fight, there's this sort of fake fight kind of deal where you have to go and kill all your Aeons, but you have auto life on all your characters, right?
Yeah.
Now, I realized something. I have to kill all my Aeons. That includes Jimbo. Or Yojimbo. And if Yojimbo does the Zamata move, auto life will not work. And I'm like, oh no. Right? So I'm like, I have to go first, and I have to kill this guy in one hit. So I didn't take any chances. I popped Kamari's overdrive, and he did like 8,000 damage, and I killed him right away. But I was like, for a couple seconds, I was like, okay, Yojimbo, we cool? You're not going to do that move to me, all right? Oh god, it was horrifying. But yeah, at the end, I ended up beating the game. Overall, it was a really, really fun game. Like, I had a lot of fun. Even my opinion on Titus kind of changed from the beginning, like to a certain extent. I still think he was kind of a goofball, but by the end of the game, I realized that half the cast are a bunch of goofballs. So. Yeah, so I mean, like, even that said, I still love the cast overall. I still think Kamari and Oron are the best. They are the best.
Kamari says like 20 words the entire game.
He says very little, but that's why he's the best, because he's so cool by not saying anything. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, so we beat that game, and I also went back to XCOM 2.
Hey.
So I didn't actually realize that they released a couple of DLC packs, so I downloaded the Alien Hunter DLC pack. And basically this adds a couple extra weapons from the get-go and some mini-bosses that can show up randomly on missions. And it's pretty cool. Like, I actually enjoyed the mini-bosses. They are scary as all hell. And I feel like they're meant, I guess what they're there for is that if you're bodying the beginning of the game, it's like, all right, here's a threat that you really can't take out. time to run away and come back with better gear. You know, that kind of stuff. And if you kill them, you get really cool stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, overall, I haven't played that much of it yet, so we'll have to see. But overall, I think I'm enjoying it. It was getting some pretty incriminating reviews on Steam, but I just stopped reading them because some of these reviews were very PC Master Race, and I was just like, oh. But it's interesting because I always feel like XCOM 2 for the PC had a difficult place to be as far as DLC goes.
Yeah.
Because there's such a strong modding community.
Yeah.
And it's like when there's DLC, you know, announced for like Skyrim or something like that, it wasn't that. I don't think it was like hated on as badly because you know, it wasn't only for the PC at the moment. It was for consoles and whatnot, and people who had the consoles, the DLC was the best thing that they could get, right? As far as an add-on, whereas PC modding is, you know, easy to do. So I can understand why there was a little bit negative feedback, but I was still like, come on, guys, you're complaining about the most minute things possible, but I don't know. Either way, still had a lot of fun, but that's what I did this week. What about you, Flaws?
Hello? Okay, cool. I was waiting for you to, you know, pass it over to me, but I guess...
did, but I guess I didn't say it loud enough. Whoop-de-doody.
So I finally made it to a high enough level that I could start playing the DLC in The Witcher 3. Sorry, I should have been more specific there. Like, The Witcher's leveling system is so weird because you get very little XP for killing enemies. And like doing contracts is mainly for gold. You barely get any XP for those, but you get like a shit ton of XP for story missions. Like there are missions that you just talk, and then it's like, there you go, 900 XP. It's crazy. So what happens is that you can play for a week, and that entire week you'll level up once, and then you can go up 9 levels in one day. Like I did, because I did like a bunch of story missions in one day.
Nice.
Anyway, I finally got to the DLC, and I started it when I was still a little under leveled. I was like level 62, and I was like level 60, I think, and the level requirement was 64. Mm-hmm. But it's worked out well so far. I got to this one boss that's just okay. First of all, let me just say something. Healing on bosses is generally a bad idea. Okay, like let me just throw this out there to most video game developers. Creating bosses that can heal themselves is generally a bad idea, because what happens is like you get the boss that I'm stuck on where I just can't out DPS it. Mm-hmm. No matter how well I play, if I slip up once, she can heal herself and then heal away most of the damage I did. So I had to, so like in spite of that, I still have to grind out a little bit because I'm kind of on that level. But overall, the DLC is pretty cool so far. One thing I do wanna say, and I don't want to give too much away, is that they've added a lot of variety in the missions. Like the first mission you do, you're taking up your standard Witcher contract, you're hunting a beast, and then the second mission, you're duking it out with pirates on a beach. Next thing you know, you're at a wedding and just chilling and doing casual shit with some shorty, and then after that you're planning a heist. Oh my god, the heist mission. What is it about heists? I don't get it, but like they always get me so hyped, man. Like
heists are great.
I love me some heists. So yeah, the heist mission, you have to create your crew. They give you a group of people that you can select from. And in typical Witcher fashion, depending on who you pick, the heist can go in a bunch of different ways. I'm not trying to give anything away, but I picked certain characters and I regretted my decision midway through. I regretted one of my decisions played out really well, the other one not so much. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the heist goes the next time. There's some parts of the heist that will always play out the same. Like, no matter who you pick, the heist will not go smooth.
Right. It's just how badly
things get depend very heavily on which characters you pick. But overall, man, one thing I wanna mention. Last week I shot on CD Projekt. Well, maybe not really. I kind of gave them a slap on the wrist because of the level requirement for the DLC. Now, what I didn't know at the time, because I loaded up the DLC while I was playing. So when I rebooted the game, at the main menu, it let me know that they actually give you some options for the DLC, right? They have one really cool option that allows you to pretty much, the game will build a character for you that is high enough to play the DLC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now I can't take that because it's a role playing game and I've been playing this specific Geralt for this long. So then I don't want a situation where they create another Geralt who's made some decisions that I don't agree with. And I'm really nerding out right now, but
No. I get it, but that's an interesting feature. Like it's like someone who maybe went straight into New Game Plus and he wants to play the DLC right away.
Yeah, or you just bought the game and you're like, you know what? I really want to check. I mean, I don't know why you would want to do this, but I really want to check out the DLC first. You can just build a character immediately. It creates like a level 34 character with a random build and random loot. The cool thing about the build is that you can respec. So whatever the build is doesn't matter. You can just respec to what you like. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I barely touched the second DLC. I started playing this, and it's really funny because like it's so colorful. It's so colorful, especially in comparison to like the rest of The Witcher. Because like I compare The Witcher a lot to Game of Thrones. There are a lot of similarities. It's a very, very gritty fantasy world. There's a lot of racism, a lot of it shows like the horrors of war, all that good stuff. The Toussaint is nothing like that. Like it's so colorful, literally and figuratively. Like it's there's all these knights and they're very honorable. Like the first knights I meet, a couple of bandits are coming and this one dude, I'm like, okay, cool, let's just kill the bandits and get it over with. This one dude is like, no, I want to give them a chance to repent first. And he goes up there and he gives this rousing speech. He's like, look within your hearts, people. This is not the way. And I'm like, is this guy for real? Like, is this guy actually for real now?
That's pretty cool.
But yeah. That one I also ran into a boss that I was under-leveled for. So I might have to go back and do some story missions. But overall, man, the DLC has been pretty cool. It's been pretty fun. I'm looking forward to getting into that. Other than that, Guilty Gear came out on Tuesday, so I touched up on that a little bit. I mean, like the crave isn't there because I've been playing the game for like a couple of months now because the demo came out in April, and the new characters I'm not really interested in most of them. With that said, I do wanna overall, it's Guilty Gear. They added a really cool lobby mode though. I think you heard me spazzing out about this while we were chatting, but it's so cute. Like you have a little chibi character and you can walk around this big lobby and you see other players' avatars there. You can challenge them. You see that you see if you walk, there's a bunch of arcade machines in the lobby. So if you see someone sitting on an arcade machine, you can go on the other side, and then you guys get to play. There's a giant pool in the middle where you can just fish, and it's so weird because it's something so mundane. You spend world dollars, which is what you get for winning matches and shit like that. And you can just fish and get like random cosmetic items. You can get stuff to customize your little chibi avatar. You can get like artwork. You can get soundtracks. You can get system voices. It's really cool, man. Like hats off to Arc System. Like the original lobby system in Xrd was fully functional. They did not have to go out of their way to do this, but they did. And it's always nice to see a developer, take the extra step because man, like between Revelator and Xrd, all they had to do was add new characters, and I would have been fine for the most part, to be completely honest. But they went above and beyond. They added new trials. The trials are really cool. There's one thing with the trials that's kind of irritating. In other, and maybe there's an option for switching it off, but I can't find it. In Xrd, when you complete a trial, it automatically skips to the next trial, right? You have to actually hit a button to do it, and it's something minor, right? But down the line when I'm practicing like the really difficult trials, I'll be grateful that it doesn't automatically skip. But right now it's irritating because I'm just trying to get through the really easy trials, and it slows me down. But it's a minor squabble and overall I'm looking forward to sinking my teeth into Revelator.
Yep. All right, let's get into some news. So this is the topic that I know you wanted to talk about.
Oh, sweet baby.
XCOM 2 is coming to consoles in September 6th and 9th worldwide.
Oh my God. You know what's funny is that because I mean, like, I always hoped it would come, and I had faith that it was going to come, right? But at the same time, it didn't change the fact that I was depressed that it wasn't here yet.
Yeah.
For me, I just wanted a release date, right? I didn't care if it came out a year later. I just wanted that concrete evidence, and now I have it. And 2016 is the year for me. Seriously, like XCOM 2. Oh, sweet baby, I can't wait. That's really all I've got to say about this.
It will be interesting to see the differences between the console and the PC versions.
I'm pretty sure it'll be very similar to the differences between XCOM 1 on console and XCOM 1 on PC.
Well, I think also, I think what people have been speculating is that one of the biggest things is they originally said that we wouldn't do a console version was because they wanted everything to be procedurally generated. So my theory is that they're probably going to tone down the procedural generated maps in the console versions. But that being said, I don't think it's going to affect the game that much.
I mean, I didn't even realize that XCOM 1 wasn't procedurally generated, so...
Yeah, so, exactly. So I mean, it's not going to be that big a deal for some people, so...
Yeah.
Honestly, it didn't really make that much of a difference for me. It made things kind of interesting. I'm curious. I am really curious. I will give Firaxis hats off, because I actually didn't think that they were going to do this.
Really? I never truly doubted, because, XCOM 1... It wasn't that successful on consoles, but I think it was relatively successful. And man, you just don't see games go from being multi-platform to being PC exclusives very frequently. I was pretty confident it was going to come eventually. For me, it was just how long, that worried me. By the way, there's no word on if there's going to be mod support or all the DLC will be included. I'm going to assume that all the DLC is going to be included. But mod support is still up in the air. Yeah. I don't care either way. I've never played a game with mod support. I'm a console gamer. Quite frankly, I could give a rat's ass.
Fair enough.
I just want XCOM 2, and I'm getting it on the 6th of September. So hats off to Firaxis. I'm excited. Don't you remember when they made a Twitter post a while back where they were like that? There's a 98% chance that XCOM 2 was coming to consoles.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't see that. See,
you never saw, but no, that was a joke though, because in XCOM 2 you get a 98%. In XCOM you have a 98% chance to hit the shot, and then somehow the person still misses.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They were like, there's a 98% chance it's coming to consoles, and then it was like, oh,
wink.
Oh, okay, they're kidding, right, assholes. But yeah, man, XCOM 2 coming to consoles. Nothing else to say. Now, here's the funny thing, Tanner. Yeah. Now I can finally go and start watching all the promotional material for XCOM, because I skipped out on most of it. So now I can go see what awaits me in September, because I skipped over a bunch of that stuff. I didn't look at any of the class videos.
There are some enemies. Oh boy.
So what?
There are going to be some enemies that are pretty nuts.
Yeah, I didn't look over any of the enemies, any of the class stuff. None of it. I skipped over all of it because I was like, screw you, Firaxis. But yeah, now I can go watch all that stuff, and I'm excited. I'm pretty sure you can actually hear me smiling through the...
I think we all can. And another thing that probably got you smiling, we have gotten, CD Projekt Red have gotten the trademark filed for a standalone Gwent game.
Yes, I saw that. They've been teasing it for a while now, and then they also they confirmed that they were going to release another game this year that wasn't Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
But also wasn't another Witcher game, so people were like, it's probably a Gwent's game.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, this hasn't really caught anyone by surprise. What I am curious though, and what I hope is that they don't just copy and paste Gwent from The Witcher 3 and put it in here, because as much as I love Gwent, I don't think the version that's in The Witcher 3 would make a very good multiplayer game. I don't think it's very balanced. I think like
they would have to balance it.
they're going to have to tweak some of I can let me give you an example, right? There's one race whose ability is whenever they win a round, they draw a card, right? Keep in mind this is a game where you don't draw cards every turn. There's another race whose ability is at the end of a round, one randomly selected monster on their board stays on the board, right? Like
Right.
I will take drawing a card 10 times out of 10 over one randomly selected creature from my board stays on my board next turn. You know, so there's little things like that. There's one class, the monsters class, they're just terrible in my opinion because the entire concept behind the class is flooding the board, right?
Right.
But flooding the board with creatures that aren't legendaries. So say you flood your front row with a bunch of melee characters, right? Like there's certain enemies that I faced that played monster decks, and I just put a card, a biting frost, because biting frost reduces the attack of all the melee characters to 1, right? So like the monster enemy, he floods his board with like 15 melee creatures, and I just biting frost. Yeah, the monster class seems really terrible in my humble opinion. So I definitely think they're gonna need to balance it a little bit. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do. And there's no word. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no word on if it's coming to consoles or PC or
yeah, no,
mobile. I mean, to be fair, it's not even officially announced yet.
Right.
They just filed the trademark and the logo leaked.
Right.
But you know how the internet works.
Yeah.
We took it and we ran with it. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. I'm actually really excited to see what they do with it because yeah, man, I love me some digital card games, as I've said numerous times on this podcast. So I'll definitely give this a shot.
Yeah, I'm really interested in how they're going to release this game, like whether or not they're just gonna, it's gonna be, a pay game, is it gonna be like you're gonna have to pay like $20 or something for this game, and you get access to all the cards and you have to unlock them over time, or if it's gonna be more of a Hearthstone kind of setup. Like it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they're going to sell this game.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. Yeah. I can't even begin to predict how they're going to handle it. So yeah,
we're probably going to see it at E3. Like,
yeah, I'm willing to bet because I mean, like Cyberpunk 2077 isn't going to be there, so
yeah, so they got to show something.
Showing something.
Now, the next piece of news had me on a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. So Persona 5 has just gotten its North American release date revealed. And I was like, yay! And it was revealed to be February 14th. And I was like, no!
I mean, to be fair, you anticipated that it wasn't going to come out this year.
I did. I was hoping maybe there'll be a surprise and there'll be a worldwide release. And I was like, no, this is Atlas, this is not Pokemon, it's not going to happen. So I was hoping for January, but February's not that far off either way.
Yeah.
I am really glad that we do have our official North American release. I'm hoping that we do get to see an English trailer at E3. I really do, because I want to see what the English version is going to start sounding like, because all I've seen is the Japanese version.
Yeah.
So, and once again, like I did kind of know it was for next year. Now, the other thing that has put me on a bit of a roller coaster of emotions is the collector's edition. So, I've been super excited for the collector's edition, right? Because they announced the Japanese collector's edition. And I was like, oh, that's got so much cool shit. I want it. And they released the North American's collector's edition. Now, to be fair, it's still pretty good, but it's not exactly on the same level as what the Japanese are getting. You get your steel, you get your steel case, you get a custom version of the disc. You get the soundtrack, and you get this 200-page art book though, hard copy and everything. So that's pretty cool. You get a Morgana plush, which is the little cat, and you get a officially licensed book bag from the game. which is pretty cool. Like not as cool as some of the other stuff in the Japanese version, but still pretty cool. I actually looked up and they were talking. One of the Atlas guys said that as far as the DLC, which was the thing that I was excited for, they are pending whether or not they're going to be able to put that in the release as like a pre-order bonus, or because they're not. Basically, it's like it currently is not with any edition. Like the DLC that they announced in Japan is currently not in any edition, and they are saying that we're not sure if we're going to be able to bring it over for whatever reasons, but we're going to try our best.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, because I really hope we can get it, because that was the one thing I was super, super excited for. I'm still going to pick up this collector's edition either way, because I want that art book. Like, I want that art book. But still really cool. I'm really glad that we finally got a release date, so just waiting for E3 to get some more news.
Yeah.
So next on our list, we got another interesting topic. We got Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, which is basically a remastered version of Final Fantasy XII.
Yeah, this is something I've been looking forward to, because I think Final Fantasy XII is one of, because it came out towards the tail end of the PS2's lifespan. I mean, it has a very similar situation to Persona 4 in that it came out to the tail end of the PS2's lifespan, and despite being critically acclaimed, the PS3 was already out at that point, so no one really gave it down.
Right.
Plus, it changed a lot of stuff. The combat isn't turn-based, and there's a bunch of other changes here and there. It's a very polarizing Final Fantasy. With that said, I've always wanted to at least have the option to give the game a try. So I'm glad to hear that it's getting an HD remaster on consoles. Now, to be completely honest, I'm probably going to do what I've done to all the other HD remasters I was looking forward to, and that's not buy it. But at the very least, I like having the option.
Yeah. I honestly, after I beat 10, I went on YouTube and I started like looking at what the original version looked like of Final Fantasy X compared to the remaster.
Yeah.
And it is a pretty damn good remaster. Like, holy crap. Like, just the improvements in the backgrounds and the textures and even like the font is so much better than what the original game had. So I'm really excited to see the improvements in this remaster, because if it's anything on the level of what they did with FF10, then I can expect it to look pretty damn awesome. Also, another thing is that from what I can tell, a lot of people have told me is that the voice acting quality from 10 to 12 is improved by a whole lot. Like, just an immense amount. So I'm kind of excited for that. And plus, since I feel like, this Final Fantasy X was technically my first Final Fantasy that I've ever beaten and played. So I feel like I should probably give this series a couple more shots. Maybe I might check this out when it comes out.
Yeah, maybe check out 12, maybe check out 13 after you're done with 12.
Yeah, we're just gonna burn 13 with fire, Anyway, overall looks pretty cool. Might pick this up for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, one little note though is that the dude that made Final Fantasy 12, the creative director behind the project, is the same guy behind Vagrant Stories, which is it Vagrant Stories? Oh my God!
Vagrant Story.
Yeah, Vagrant Story.
It's funny. I was watching a Final Fantasy retrospective, right? And they were talking about how like Vagrant Story and Final Fantasy 12 are technically in the same universe, so they're kind of connected.
Okay.
So it's interesting.
Vagrant Story is one of the most critically acclaimed JRPGs ever, actually. On the PS1, I just remember hearing so much about this game. I never got to play it, but I heard so much good stuff about this game. And then the guy behind Vagrant Story is also the guy that worked on 12. So yeah, maybe we're in for a good time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I'll probably end up not buying it, but I like having.
Yeah. If anything, I'll probably end up buying it, and then you can just borrow it from me when I'm done.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, that's what Fawaz likes to do. Hey Tanner, you gonna pick up that game? You should pick up that game. That sounds like your cup of tea. But cool stuff. Next on our list, we've got Yooka-Laylee. We got a new trailer and a release date for 2017.
Yeah, the funny thing about the delay was I didn't even know what's coming out in 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, sorry, we're so sorry to announce that Yooka-Laylee." Okay, well, first funny thing about it, right, is that this announcement came out like very, very like a couple of days after we did our podcast on Mighty Number Nine, right?
Right. Yeah.
So my first thought was, "It begins." Oh no, Yooka-Laylee is going down the dark path that Mighty Number Nine went. And then I was like, okay, seriously, I didn't even know it was coming out in 2016. So
Yeah.
whatever, dudes. But yeah, man, the game looks really good.
Yeah.
Like you can definitely see the little bits of polish that the game is missing by being a Kickstarter title. Like, you know, slight animation stuff here, slight like graphic stuff here and there, but overall it looks really good. It looks like a modern day Banjo-Kazooie.
I was going to say that compared to some of the earlier stuff that they showed during like the beginning of their Kickstarter, it is improved dramatically, like from some of the earlier stuff that they were showing. So I'm impressed by that. I'm also I love the music. Like the music is so fitting, and it's very Banjo-Kazooie. Like it's very like the music is very tonally like that, which is great because that's what they're trying to go for, right?
Yeah, and this just goes back to what I was saying on our last podcast, right? Is that sure you can see the little lack of polish here and there, but overall, you know, they picked an art style that worked for them, and it's working. You know, as opposed to Mighty Number Nine that picked an art style that looks like actual shit. So hats off to Platonic Games for not being twats, and let's hope they keep it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I also like the little jab at the end of the trailer in which to go, man, where's the brown level? I can't wait for that. And then they're go like, they'll probably put it in before the release. It's like, yeah, they'll probably add some cars too. So I was kind of like, that's great. Throw nuts and bolts under the bus. That's
yes, nuts and bolts.
God. But yeah, no, cool stuff. Another interesting trailer that came out, new IP from the creators of Saints Row, Agents of Mayhem.
Yeah, Agents of Mayhem. So this is an interesting one. So apparently, first of all, it's an open world game. It's an open world single player game because you watch the trailer and you think that it's probably co-op in this. You're wrong. It's actually you're all right there. You've been sneezing a lot.
I may have a cold.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, really? Man, oh, cool. Tanner's sick. Awesome.
But yeah, it's an open world game. It's set in the Saints Row universe. You take up the mantle of 3 agents?
Yeah, what? 3 agents, yeah.
Wait, okay, so this is confusing me because this article is also stating there are 12 unique agents to choose from as you work to take down the diabolical lieutenant of Legion, right? But then in another part, it's saying that you're taking up the mantle of 3 agents. So I'm like, but then it also mentions that it's a single player game. So it's like, are you controlling the 3 agents simultaneously?
It could be just like GTA 5, like Switch. Like you can switch from character to character. Could be something like that. I don't know, because it's weird. When I was watching the trailer, I was like, what kind of game is this going to be? Like I can tell it's probably going to be open world, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also like tonally, what kind of game this is going to be? Is it going to be very similar to Saints Row, or is it going to be a little bit more like serious? Because it seems like obviously like Saints Row like is absolutely ridiculous, right? Like the story, the tone is all over the place, right? Whereas I find that that this game seems to be going for a slightly more serious tone because it seems like there's like government agencies and
slightly more serious tone. You sure about that?
Well, I mean slightly because it's like there seems to be like it's like at the very end there's like that one chick with this the French cigarette or whatever, and she's like talking to some like organization. Yeah.
So let me just tell you how serious this game is going to be, right?
Okay,
The supervillains are called Legion, and
Nice.
it's an acronym that stands for League of Gentlemen Intent on Obliterating Nations. And then the team you're controlling is called Mayhem, which is an acronym that stands for the Multinational Agency of Hunting Evil Masterminds. So where did the Y come from? But yeah, I don't think I don't think serious is a word you will ever use to describe this game.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, it looks pretty cool. We're definitely going to see more at E3, and I'm looking forward to seeing more because, like, to be honest, the open world, and I'm going to get into this in more detail later in the podcast, but the like open world games outside of like the like Skyrims and the Witchers and Fallouts of the world. In general, I don't touch open world games as much anymore. They just don't, like the GTAs, the Saint Rose, all those ones don't really capture my attention anymore. However, I was always a big fan of Crackdown, and I was always disappointed that I felt the developers never used that game to its full potential. So perhaps this game, so I'm interested to see where they go with this, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing gameplay at E3.
Yeah. Me too. Like, because I just want to see what kind of game this is going to look like and play like. That will be interesting for sure. But next on our list, this is another game that I'm super excited for. Horizon Zero Dawn gets a new trailer. Oh, it looks so rad.
Yeah, so let's get the bad news out of the way first. As most people already predicted, considering we hadn't seen any footage of this game in over a year, the game is not going to make its 2016 release date, which goes back to my rant from last year about completion dates when it's done. No one forced you to give us a release date at E3 last year, so so you put yourself in this situation where you then had to delay the game. Now, to be fair. So, and this is a bit of a digression. Okay. Sony's press conference last year had a couple of games in there that, like, I mean, Shenmue 3 was not going to get a release date. Final Fantasy 7 was not going to get a release date. So perhaps because of that, Sony pressured Guerrilla and Team Ico to give release dates.
I feel like that is the case with a lot of games, but yes, I do agree with you that a lot of games will be like, okay, we don't think we're realistically going to get this release date, but we don't want to announce a game for like 2019.
Yeah, and it's no, like what I mean though is that if they hadn't given us a release date with Horizon and they hadn't given us a release date with The Last Guardian, then literally Sony's press conference last year would have been Uncharted, and that was it in terms of games that we had concrete dates for.
Right, exactly.
Because Dreams didn't get a release date, Shenmue 3 didn't, and Final Fantasy 7 didn't. So, but that's a bit of a digression, and I just wanted to, because I spent a lot of time shitting on them for what they did, so I'm just trying to, play the other side of the table this time around. Now, with all that said, this game looks amazing. Oh my god. Like, this is such a cool idea for a setting. This is one of the coolest ideas for a video game setting I've seen in recent memory. Like, one thing I really, really, really love is how they talk about our civilization as if it's this ancient and it's The Last of Us did this really well too. Where what's her name? Ellie? Was that her name?
Yeah, Ellie.
Yeah, she'd be asking about it, and she'd be asking about just stuff that we look at as like day-to-day stuff, and they'd be looking at it as like, oh, this is so magical and all this stuff. So yeah, give them credit.
I think one of my favorites from the game is when she's looking at like a poster of like a fashion model, and she's like, really? You people had time to starve yourselves? And Joel's like, don't look at me. I wasn't supportive of that.
But yeah, I love stuff like that. And this game, I'm assuming anyway that this game is like, even from the trailers, they talk about the others or whatever, the ancient ones or whatever they call us. I'm like, ancient ones? Excuse me, I'm only 27. Thank you very much. But yeah, man, this game looks amazing. We have a release date. Now, to be fair, they actually didn't even give us a release date last E3. They just said 2016. So so we have an actual release date now. It's coming out March 1st. Yes, March 1st. Yeah. Sorry. just to double check that. It's coming out March 1st, 2017. So that's pretty cool. So hey, you've got your February. February, you got your Persona 5, and then March, you've got your Horizon Zero Dawn.
There we go. To be fair, though, I'll probably still be playing Persona 5 into March.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more gameplay at E3, and I'm assuming that this game is going to have a pretty big presence at E3 next week. So good stuff, man. Good stuff to Sony. Good stuff to Gorilla. This is. Like these are the do you remember these were the guys responsible for Killzone, the game that was notorious for being like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. I have to give them credit because like they had been riding the Killzone like name for so long that I was like, can you guys do anything else? Like I didn't mind Killzone, but it was like for the longest time that was the only game I associated Guerrilla with.
Yeah.
Because that's all that they were really making, like Killzone 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 4 was Shadowfall, but it was kind of like, I want to see something new, please.
Yeah, I completely agree, and this is looking pretty good. Now, looking forward to seeing more gameplay at E3 next week, and in anticipation of the March 1st release.
Yeah, for sure. I love robot dinosaurs, so you can't. Next on our list, we got Injustice 2 coming 2017.
Yeah, so funny story, about the announcement, right? So this game, it leaked before the announcement trailer got revealed, right? Because, like, the GameSpot got some posters from NetherRealm Studios, and they accidentally leaked the posters before the trailer got on, and like it's a poster of Batman facing Flash, and it actually has Injustice 2 on it. So there's no way to misinterpret this, right? And then Ed Boon, who is like the creative director at NetherRealm Studios, he releases a tweet, and it's like people who I'm inviting to like my dinner or whatever. It's like President Obama, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, and then you see GameStop there, and their name is crossed out of the list.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And then he has like a shrug emoji under it. But yeah, overall, they released they had a little press release with the announcement of the game, talking about some of the new characters that are going to be in the game. So, there's the obvious people are going to be there, the Justice League main cast and shit like that. Yeah. But they're going to add Gorilla Grodd, which is one of Flash's biggest villains, Atrocitus, who's like the leader of the Red Lanterns. Yeah. And then they also, and this is where things get interesting, is that they're... Okay, let me just read the quote. In Injustice 2, we're introducing new features that will change the way fans play fighting games. We're always interested in pushing the genre forward, and allowing players to customize and level up their favorite DC superheroes and supervillains is a significant leap. Okay. Expanding this DC universe in games continues to be one of our top priority, and Injustice 2 showcases amazing gameplay and an original story to bring the characters to life for players. NetherRealm Studios is offering fans and blah, 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 whatever. The rest of this doesn't matter. So the main thing there is that you can level up your characters. I have no idea how this is going to affect competitive Injustice, but I am interested to see how this will play out. Yeah. You're going to be able to level up your characters. You're going to be able to customize them. And like the cinematic trailer features the characters done in like battle armor in the middle of the trailer. So I'm guessing part of the leveling up is going to involve making your characters bulkier and chunkier as time goes by. But yeah, man.
What would be interesting? It's like maybe it's something similar to like you can pick a different style. Like it could be something similar to that.
Could be something similar to that. Yeah. I'm intrigued, man. I'm definitely intrigued by all of this. I quite enjoyed Injustice. Most of the people in my area didn't really get into the game, so I never really played it competitively. But I enjoyed the game. I thought I thought it did a lot of cool, unique things. And oh, by the way, Supergirl confirmed as well as one of the new characters.
Cool.
But yeah, I thought the game did a lot of cool, unique things. The interactable environments, the fact that it focused on positioning a lot more than other fighting games because like there were certain maps where certain characters didn't mind being in the corner because like with your back to the corner, you had access to like a rocket. So like a rocket launcher that could bolster your zoning. There were certain maps that certain types of characters preferred, and there's a watch again. And yeah, overall, I'm really looking forward to seeing more gameplay of this. Obviously, this is going to be at E3, and we're probably going to see some footage at Evo, sure. which is next month as well. But yeah, fun stuff. I'm also looking forward to seeing where they go with the story. Hopefully the new gods get introduced. So Darkseid and all those people. Because that was probably the biggest omission from Injustice for me, the lack of any new gods in it. So yeah, I looking forward to seeing more Injustice too.
Yeah, sure. I'll keep my eyes open. I'm hoping that we get all the Teen Titans.
I doubt we're gonna get all of them, but we're gonna get some of them. I mean, we got some team. We got Raven, Cyborg, Nightwing.
Yeah.
We got Raven, Cyborg, and Nightwing.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we get Beast Boy and Starfire. I want my full roster of Teen Titans. Next on our list, though, we got to wrap things up. We got Watch Dogs 2 trailer. Huh. I really didn't think that they were gonna make a sequel to this game, but okay.
Really?
I don't know.
Watch Dogs 2 was the best-selling IP when it launched.
Watch Dogs 1.
Watch Dogs 1 was the highest-selling IP ever highest-selling new IP when it launched. The game sold like hotcakes. Yeah, that was always.
I guess now I think about it, I guess it does make more sense. It's just weird because I thought it was one of those games that people like were really excited for. They bought it and then were kind of like, it's okay, and then nobody really talked about it for a while.
This is true. Yeah, there was a lot of like a lot of those sales were hyped.
Yeah, it was really hyped.
A lot of people weren't very impressed with the final game, which is what makes me laugh. So after they released this like 18-minute trailer for Watch Dogs, and then I read this article which is like Watch Dogs. Sorry, why do I keep doing this? They released this 18-minute trailer for Watch Dogs 2, and then after I watched the trailer, then this article gets released that's talking about how Watch Dogs 2 has sold me, and here's the reason why. And the top comment is, some people just never learn. And I'm like, yes, I completely agree. Because for me, the only reason why you should be sold on an Ubisoft game pre-launch is if you have short-term memory loss. Seriously. Like, are you kidding? The Division. Like, you don't even have to look that far to find an Ubisoft game that was really hyped and then came out and was booty. Well, not booty, but was disappointing, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just like, because it's like, the first time I got really screwed over this was with Watch Dogs, in which I saw the original trailer and I was like, oh, it looks so good. The graphics are great. I love the way his code is flowing in the wind. And everything just looked really smooth. And you get to screw around with the environment and hack stuff. That's great. And when you slow down, you get to see actually like the water droplets in slow motion. It's like so cool. And then when I saw the final product, and people saw like they were comparing the screenshots, right? Yeah. They were comparing the screenshots of what they originally announced to what they end up launching with, and it's just such a it's a pretty big downgrade as far as graphic quality. So I was kind of like, oh, that was the one thing that was kind of making me super excited for it. So that's when I saw the Division. And the Division was looking around, I was doing stuff in that trailer that I was like, okay, that is never going to happen. Like, I am not that stupid. Like, in a single-player game, okay, maybe we could reach what Watch Dogs was doing, but in a multiplayer game, that is fucking not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So I kind of didn't. That's why I didn't even care for the Division, because I knew it was not going to be anything close to what it was promising to be. So when I see this, I kind of find it interesting because I'm kind of like, well, are they going to at least attempt to make it closer to what they originally promised? Is the question, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the actual gameplay of the game, it looks, it looks like more Watchdog. They've added parkour. It's funny. The game looks like a little bit of an amalgamation of a bunch of different Ubisoft titles
Mm-hmm.
because you had the parkour of Assassin's Creed in there, and then the new character. He has a bunch of gadgets that reminded me of Sam Fisher, and yeah, man, it was. Oh, also, it's a black protagonist. So hey,
Mm-hmm.
that's
We're getting there.
we're seeing more and more of those. They also mentioned something interesting though. What's this thing called? They were talking about his backstory and about how he dealt with racial profiling, and that's going to factor into his character. I'll believe it when I see it. But you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I'll give them credit for trying at least.
Yeah.
We'll see if they pull it off. I don't think they can because they're Ubisoft.
Yeah.
But like if they do pull it off properly, like that'll be an interesting character. We haven't had a lot of main characters who dealt with like I mentioned a couple podcasts ago. There's never really been a protagonist. Like there's not a lot of video games that have tackled serious issues like racial profiling, and
Yeah.
like racism and shit like that. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, knowing Ubisoft, that probably won't be
Not,
the case.
I'm hoping that it will be a more interesting character than the character from Watch
But
Dogs 1 because he was just
he was white, yeah,
just he was basically he was generic white guy. Like he
yeah.
was just so generic white guy, and he was just his friends were way more interesting than he was.
Yeah, it looks like they took that to heart because this guy already looks more interesting than Aiden Price. I think
Yeah, I
was his
think it was
name.
Aiden
Like, could you
Price.
make a more generic name?
Yeah.
Seriously, like, but yeah, we shall see. There's also it's set in San Francisco now, which I forgot to mention. The first Watch Dogs was set in Chicago, so hipster city. There's gonna be a lot of hipsters in this video game. They said that they're improving the driving because I heard a lot of people complain about the driving in the original Watch
Yeah,
Dogs.
the driving was weird.
And they're also talking about giving players the option to tackle missions however they want. Like whenever I hear this, I always roll my eyes because very few games actually pull it off.
Yeah.
But we'll see if they can. I don't think they will.
We shall
Overall,
see.
though, as funny as this sounds, I actually thought it looks pretty good. I watched the trailer. I watched the cinematic trailer, and that looked pretty cool. Then I
Mhm.
watched the gameplay trailer, and yeah, the game looked interesting. Like I mentioned a little earlier in the podcast, though, like modern day open world games just don't do it for me. Part of the
Mhm.
reason is because they're a contradiction. Like
Mhm.
um one of the reasons why I love The Witcher and I love Skyrim is because they're open world games. Like they give you a mission, and if you can think it, you can usually do it.
Yeah.
They allow you to tackle missions pretty much any like there. Let me put it. There's no such thing as a mission fail screen in these games, right? Like
Right.
the mission only fails when you die or when like someone you are supposed to be protecting dies.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you like. There's mission. I can start a mission, leave, and then come back later.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. You
it's
can't
it's
really do that in these kind of games.
yeah, like Grand Theft Auto and these kind of games don't really give you that kind of freedom. So
Mhm.
after playing, like it was Fallout 3 that really ruined Grand Theft Auto for me. After playing Fallout 3, I couldn't like I went to GTA and I was like, this game is just not very open. It's open until you want to do something creative, and then it
Mhm.
gives you a big middle finger. So yeah, man, it's weird. But we'll see if Watch Dogs can change that. I doubt. I
Yeah.
doubt it. But the game looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say this. I am definitely optimistic, to say the least. But I'm still like, until we get farther down the actual release date, I'm not believing those shots. I'm not believing the gameplay. Because you're not fooling me a second time. But either way, interesting stuff. Watch Dogs 2. And so now we got to wrap things up. So we got our question of the day from the very wonderful J Streets.
Shout out to J Street.
Shout out to J Streets. J Streets asks us, what factors should be considered when thinking about nerfing, buffing, or balancing characters or a game mechanic? Interesting question.
You want to take this first?
Yeah, I guess so. as far as like I guess nerfing, buffing, or balancing, I think the biggest thing that needs to be considered is how this change will affect. I guess as how it will affect the other like I guess I'm thinking like in this case more like MOBAs or games where it's like team v like teams, right? It's how it will affect playing against other characters or other heroes or whatnot in situations. So if you're going to buff, let's say you're going to buff, for just an example, let's say you're going to buff Diva's projectile disintegration thing, right? If you're going to buff that, you have to take into account how is that buff going to affect her playing against, her fighting against like a May, or how is that going to, affect her playing against like a Roadhog or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. So you have to like, if you're going to do any like buffing or nerfing, buffing or nerfing to a character, you have to like first consider how is that going to react, how is that going to change 1v1s. Or,
okay.
I feel like that's one of the basic things, because it's like, oh, we're gonna buff this character. It's gonna make her a lot better when fighting against this character. So that will be great, right? And then you don't realize, oh wait, that makes her overpowered when fighting against this character now.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the biggest things you have to consider when trying to balance a game mechanic. I'm not really good at this kind of stuff because honestly, I've never really been a big like, oh, you need to fix the balance. Oh, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like,
okay, yeah. So
it's weird. It's weird. But what do you think?
Okay, so like, first of all, I think first of all, it varies, right?
Yeah.
But it comes down to what the game developers intended to achieve with that game in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So let's stick with the hot topic right now on Overwatch. Like using Overwatch as an example, one thing that Blizzard really wanted was for every character to have a counter, right? Yes. So when you are nerfing a character, you nerf the character. You nerf the character so that they don't. The perfect example right here is Tracer, right? Yeah. Tracer was very, very good for a very long time. She's still very good. So they buffed McCree because Tracer didn't have a single counter in the game at the time. So they buffed McCree. So instead of nerfing Tracer, they buffed McCree to become better at dealing with Tracer. So that buff balanced Tracer. Tracer wasn't that popular anymore after. Now, funny enough, that buff wasn't even the reason why McCree became OP, right? But then, yeah, to now use McCree as another example, the other thing you should take into consideration is does this character exist? Does this character being this way allow for other characters to shine? Yes. McCree is a perfect example of that. There's no reason to pick Reaper. There's no reason to pick 76 because McCree does everything those characters do and better. Sure, he has some weaknesses in comparison to those characters. He doesn't have Reaper or McCree or 76's mobility, but he checks more boxes than they do. You know, he's too strong in too many areas, and then he makes those two characters obsolete. So that is one very important thing you should usually take into consideration. You know, it's like to go back a couple of years, it's like Doom in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Doom was the perfect teammate. There was no reason to not have Doom on your team. So if they were going to balance Doom, they should take that into consideration. Sentinel, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. 90% of the teams you saw in MVC2 had Sentinel on them because you could think of more. You could not think of enough reasons not to put this character on your team. So those are the kind of things that you should take into consideration because most of the time, developers, when you create a game with a big cast of characters, you want most of the characters to be viable. Now, you're just never going to have parity across the board. Yeah. Not every character will be as usable. There'll be some characters that are more niche, right? You sticking with the Overwatch example, Symmetra, for example. Symmetra was designed to be a niche character. Her ultimate is just not good in certain modes, in certain situations. If you're on offense, Symmetra's teleporter is generally garbage. If you're on offense, Symmetra's turrets are useless because they're not attacking you, you're attacking them, you know? So by design, Symmetra was not designed to be an all-round character. Certain characters are, right? So and that's fair. But then, like, Symmetra is fine because in those situations where she is supposed to work, she works really well. Well, relatively
it's
well.
funny you say Symmetra because it's actually Symmetra has an interesting like buff slash nerf. Well, more of a nerf because I know during the beta, like not the closed beta, her shields gave 50 instead of 25. Instead of 25, and the reason that they changed that was because she would be giving 50 to tracers, and then tracers instead of like having 150 health, they would have 200 health.
Yeah, and a 200 health tracer is not something I want to be dealing with.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that was a straight up nerf. No, there was no way to look at that as a buff. Yeah. Symmetra got tweaked a little bit. They also reduced the charge time on her teleporter because she used to get it off too quickly, which is funny because she still gets it off really quickly. You can get a teleporter in like 30 seconds. But yeah, that's you got to take those kind of things into consideration. So yeah, when you're buffing a character, you want to buff them to the point where they do something better than the other characters, right? Like, and this goes back to my other argument. The reason why I thought Diva was terrible was because there was nothing she did better than the other tanks, you know? At least nothing consistently. There's nothing that she did consistently better than the other 4 tanks. So there weren't a lot of situations where you were like, I'd rather have a Diva, I'd rather have a Diva than a Reinhardt. I'd rather have a Diva than a Winston, right? So that's one thing you should take into consideration. The other thing when nerfing is you want to nerf characters that make other characters obsolete. So that's the issue with McCree right now because he just does everything. So yeah, that's my thought on character balance.
Yeah, it's cause and effect. Like really, that's the best way to do it. I think we can agree on. Thanks for tuning in. If you like our podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If you leave a comment in the comment section, we'll make sure to answer it in the next podcast. And as always, this was your host, Room and Liberty, and...
Fuad Mohammed,
and we'll see you guys next time.